Welcome back, second grade mathematicians. Today is Thursday, April 16th, and we are going to jump into some math review problems. For you to be ready for math review, you're going to need to have some scrap paper and a pencil or something to write with. So make sure you have those materials in front of you. Before we get started on our problems today, I want to highlight some exceptional math work that I saw on Seesaw. So I took a look through all of Seesaw and I noticed some really great organization, some super neat handwriting, and some excellent jobs from friends who were using really careful strategies. And their teachers could clearly see their strategies because of how neat and organized their work is. So here's a shout out to Kadeem and Sophie from Cornell. A shout out for Brian, Jeremy, and Mila in Eastern, and a shout out as well for Destiny, Ethan, and Jasmine from UMass. So excellent job to those scholars. Definitely everyone, please make sure that your math work is neat and organized. It's really important that math work is neat and organized because otherwise it makes it tricky for your teachers to see what you're doing. But more importantly, it's easier for you to make a mistake when your work is not neat and not organized, and you don't want to make any silly mistakes because of that. So when we jump right into this very first problem, this is your chance to make sure that your work is neat and organized. The very first problem we are doing today says, Mr. Gilbert won $300 last year at the country fair for guessing the correct weight of a large pumpkin. He decides that he should give $127 to Miss Dixon for being unbelievably awesome. How much money does he have left? So I want you to think about what these numbers represent in the problem. I want to see a number I want you to use a number sentence on your scrap paper, and then any strategy that works for you to solve it. Take about 2 minutes to write that number sentence and get an answer. Go ahead. Take about 30 more seconds. All right, let's go over this. So in this problem, we have the number 300. I'm going to even write a little key here. 300, 127, and question mark, something we have to solve for. Oh, let me make sure you can see it. So 300 represents the total amount of money. 127 represents the money he gives to Miss Dixon. That's me. And we have to figure out the money he has left. So he has a total amount of money. He gives some to someone else, and we need to figure out how much he has left, which means this is a subtraction problem. So I'm going to start with my total. I'm going to take the part away that I know, and that'll help me figure out the part that I do not know, which represents in here the amount of money he has left. So I am going to do the base 10 block strategy. I'll zoom out so you can see it, to solve this. Now the reason why I'm choosing to do the base 10 block strategy is because 300 has 2 zeros in it, and that represents my total. And I know that with an algorithm, and I'll show you an algorithm afterwards, I know that with an algorithm, I'm going to have to do a lot of regrouping, probably double regrouping, so I want to do base 10 blocks first. So 300 in base 10 blocks looks like this. 3 groups of 100. But now I have to take away 127, and I have to start with my ones place. So I have 0 ones, but I need to take away 7, so I have to get more. But I have 0 tens. So that means I have to regroup one of my hundreds for 10 tens first. Remember, 10 tens has the same value as 100. And now that I have tens, I can regroup one of my tens for 10 ones. So now I have 1 so that I can take away 7 of them. Here's 5, 6, 7. I'm left with 3. Now I have to take away 2 tens. Now I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I have to take away one group of 100. I'm left with 100 because I regrouped 1 and I took away 1. So right now, I think my answer is 173. On my board here, I'm going to show you how to do an algorithm. Grab my pen here, my marker. I'm going to show you how to do an algorithm to solve this problem. We should, if we do this correctly, or if we haven't made any mistakes, we should get 173 as our answer. But we'll check. So I start with my ones. 0 minus 7, I can't do that. I can't have a smaller number and take away a bigger number from it, so I have to regroup. But I have 0 tens to regroup, so I have to go into my hundreds place. I'm going to regroup one of my hundreds, so that means I have 2 left. And when I regroup it for 10 tens because it has the same value. But I still need to get more ones. So I have to regroup one of my tens. So instead of having 10, I'm going to have 9. And now, instead of having 0 ones, I'm going to have 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 2 is 7. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So I get the same answer, just using a different strategy. If that was confusing at all for you with that double regrouping, please circle that and you can talk about it with your teacher. I'll just use my hand here. Now, putting up our next set of problems, it is a bar graph. So let's zoom in here. All of the students in K-2 at Brook Rosendale were asked by Miss Hammond what their favorite fruit is. Miss Cashin created a bar graph to show the results. Use the bar graph to answer the questions below. We've done a couple of these now together, so you know the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to label the value of each bar. You should do that as well. In fact, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to label the value of each bar, so go ahead and do that. Okay, So apple, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pen to draw a line down here, and I can see that there are 35 apples. If I use my pen and draw a line down here, I can see there are 30 oranges. Using my pen, I'm going to draw a line down here, like an imaginary line. 10 bananas. Draw my line. We got 25 kiwi. Blueberries. Whoa, that's popular. 40. And then grapes, 5. So there you have it. Now that I've labeled all of my bars here, I have some questions that I have to answer. I actually have 3 questions that I have to answer. Question A, question B, question C. I'm going to leave this up here so you can look at it on the video, and I'm going to read A, B, and C, and then you are going to take about 3 to 4 minutes to answer these questions before we go over them. Question A, how many fewer people, that's a really important word, how many fewer people voted for kiwi fruit than blueberries? B, how many people voted for apples, oranges, or bananas? And down here, question C, how many people voted all together? Really important word right there. Awesome. Take the next 3 or 4 minutes and answer questions A, B, and C on your scrap paper. Take about 20 more seconds. Okay, let's go over this. You're welcome to pause the video if you did not have enough time to answer these 3, but we're going to get started. So A says, how many fewer people voted for kiwi fruit than blueberries? Fewer means I need to find the difference. I know the 2 values, but I need to find the difference. So we know that kiwi fruit is 25 and blueberries is 40. So that number sentence I would use would be 40 minus 25 equals something. So if I did a quick algorithm here, or based on blocks, or even mental math, any of those strategies works. It's really whatever works for you. 0 minus 5, I can't do that. So I need to regroup to get more 1s. Instead of having 4 now, I have 3. And now instead of having 0 1s, I have 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Your answer is 15. 15 fewer people voted for kiwi fruit. Question B. How many people voted for apples, oranges, or bananas? A question like this can be tricky because this word or can throw you off. I'm not trying to find the difference. I just need to know the total number of people that voted for oranges, apples, and bananas. So, apples, 35 people voted for that. Oranges, 30 people voted for that. And bananas, 10 people voted for that. To solve this problem, I'm going to use the expanded form strategy. I noticed that some of you use this strategy on your exit tickets. Ian from BC definitely used this strategy. If the expanded form strategy works for you, feel free to do it. The reason why I'm choosing it is because when I take a look at these numbers, 30 and 10 are already in expanded form. They're groups of 10. So I'm going to put 35 in expanded form. So that would be 30 plus 5. And then I still have 30 more to add and 10 more to add. So let me add my 10s. 30 plus 30 is 60. And 10 more equals 70. Then I just have to add 5. And I get 75. Awesome. The last question you had to answer said, how many people voted all together? Now, you already figured out how many people voted for the total number of people that voted for apples, oranges, and bananas. I already know this represents 75 from the work that I did in problem B. So all I have to do for these three fruit is just write the number 75 here. Because you already figured out that apples, oranges, and bananas, the total votes for those three was 75. But now we need to figure out, we need to use that number 75 and add the total number of votes for kiwi, blueberries, and grapes. So 75 plus 25 for kiwi, 40 for blueberries, and 5 for grapes. So I can use my answer from previous problems to help me solve this last problem. I'm going to move it up here just so we can see. And again, I'm going to use that expanded form strategy. 75 in expanded form is 70 plus 5. 25 in expanded form is 20 plus 5. Then I have 40, which is already in expanded form, and 5, which is already in expanded form. I'm going to add my 10s. I have 70, 20, and 40. 70 and 20, that equals 90. Now 90 plus 40, that would be 100, 110, 120, 130. And then I have to add my 1s. So that would be 5 plus 5 plus 5. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. So now I'm going to do a little bit of mental math. I have 130 here and I'm adding 15 to it. 130 plus one group of 10 would be 140. And then 5 more would equal 145. So the total number of people that voted all together is 145. That's all for math together today. Right now you should jump into doing your exit ticket. Remember, we're on the lookout, all your teachers, especially me, I'm on the lookout to make sure that you're using organized and neat work and using your strategies and showing us your strategies really clearly when you're solving. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to your teachers, and I will see you tomorrow with another math video.